Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at thedove.us. Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. Always a delight to have Treva Kuyper with us. She's one of the co-leaders of the ministry called The Loft, one of the great outreaches to young teenage girls in our area. And hi.
Hi.
We were talking just before going on the air, the impact that you're having. And for those who are just now catching this for the first time, give us a synopsis of The Loft.
The Loft is an outreach ministry to teen girls, 8th through 12th grade. We meet during the school year from September to June, the second Sunday night of every month, and we tackle the big issues. We were just talking about last month was addictions. And at the beginning of the year, we tackled body image, beauty, online safety. In a couple months, we're going to tackle the topic of sex and relationships.
We are.
Yes.
You and I are going to talk about that?
We are going to talk about that, yes.
Okay.
And we just get in there and get real with these girls and help them navigate through life.
You said it took you a little while to recover from last week, so
Yes.
I don't know, are we ever really shocked? But I guess we're really shocked when we hear it.
We are, and yeah, last month the addiction topic, it took me about a week to come back from that, because you're in that. Not only is there a spiritual battle going on for our girls,
Right.
but then they turn in prayer requests. They confess things that they're struggling with, and even though it's not shocking, you go, yeah, I knew that. But when you're putting faces to those addictions, those sweet little faces, I walk away and I'm heartbroken.
Yeah.
It definitely gets me to pray for these girls even more, because I realize the struggle is so deep and so real for a lot of these girls.
So, at the end of the day, these young girls, with all of the struggles, they're living two lives.
Yeah. They're trying to keep their head above water. They're trying to do the things that we're telling them is good and right and wise for them to do. But at the end of the day, they're teenagers. They're children.
Yeah.
They're still children.
Yeah.
And that lack of maturity to know that I need to do X, Y, and Z because this is what's good for me, that's not always there. They're still growing in that.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's still a struggle.
Boy, and I can't imagine the war that's going on in their heart when they want to do good and evil is present. You know, that's the
Yeah.
Romans 7 thing.
Absolutely. Paul talked about it. Absolutely. You know, and just trying to explain to them that in their sinful nature, they're going to continue to stumble, but through Christ as their Savior. That's what I love about the Loft, is we introduce them to Christ. We introduce them to the one that can rescue them and save them. Yeah.
Well, let me just say to our viewers and listeners, you can join this. If you have a teenage girl from 8th to 12th grade, they can join this at anywhere along the line. And your topic coming up this Sunday is going to be another biggie: anxiety, stress, and depression. Now, wait a minute. These girls are supposed to be happy and go lucky in the prime of life, and they're waiting for the phone to ring from their man in shining armor.
Right.
And they're full of stress and anxiety.
Yes, they are. And, you know, a lot of it stems from fear. A lot of our teenagers they're fearful, they're scared. And that can be from circumstances that have happened in the past. We talked in January to the girls about divorce and blended families. And oftentimes situations that have happened in their lives create this anxiety, this fear of what is my future going to be like? And is this painful thing that happened to me before, is it going to happen again? And they don't have the experience. They don't have the experience to say, you know what, I've seen God work in my life. Like you and I, we have that experience to say, when the storm comes, to say, I've seen God work in my life over and over. And so we can hold firm to that. But these girls are still learning that, if they even know it at all. So they kind of just spiral into this anxiety and this worry and this fear. And we want to give them encouragement this Sunday to say, you don't have to live your life like that.
What are they worrying about?
A lot of them worry about how they fit in with their peers, how they fit in at school, if they're going to go to college, will they get good grades. Some of that anxiety comes from home. You know, they go to school where their friends are, but then they go home, maybe to a broken home or a home where there's lots of suffering. And then that brings anxiety because they don't know. They feel out of control. Oftentimes, they feel out of control.
Do they Do they think the world's a safe place?
I think they want desperately to think it's a safe place.
But
and depending on their experience,
yeah,
it either is or it's really not. Some girls, you know, that their home life, I think that's where a lot of it stems from. Their home life is very secure. Maybe they come from a home where the parents, you know, they love the Lord and they're trying their best to teach them the ways of the Lord. You know, then they can look at the world kind of through that lens and say, yeah, there are good people in this world and it's mostly a safe place. But then we have a lot of girls that come to the Loft that have such brokenness that they're trying to trust somebody's telling them something, it's going to be okay, but they don't have the experience to back that up.
What do some of these girls do in the way of destructive behavior that would indicate that they're struggling with fear or, as you said earlier, out of control?
When they start to feel out of control, they want to do absolutely anything to gain control in their own little world. And it's usually very secretive. So eating disorders will stem out of that. Cutting, self-harm, self-hate will stem out of that.
Excuse me, that's the one I don't get. Do you get that? Do you understand that? To me, why would you want to hurt yourself? Why would you? I don't. There's a disconnect in my mind on that one.
Well, this is our 3rd year in this ministry, so 3 years now I've studied this self-harm topic, and I have to admit I didn't get it at first. At first, I thought, what in the world is going on that you would want to cut yourself to feel better? It's an oxymoron.
Yeah.
What it is that when the girls or teenagers, because boys do it too, when they're trying to gain control, pain that comes at them from all these different areas, they're not in control of. So if they're coming from a broken home or there's abuse or there's things happening in the world, they're being bullied. If there's pain coming that they cannot control, the pain that they inflict on themselves is pain that they can control.
And that erases this outside.
It kind of brings some release, some relief. But what they don't understand when they're doing that is it's a temporary relief that is destroying them in the long run. So when we talk about self-harm at the Loft, that's one of the things we try to teach them, is that in that moment, like any destructive behavior, in that moment, it seems like, oh, this is going to take this away. But all it does is destroy you down the line.
I can't help but think what goes through the heart of a parent to think, even if a child is raised in a good atmosphere in a good home, that they get caught in this. They feel so hopeless.
They do.
And they don't understand what happened to my child that they would get involved in this.
I know, and my heart breaks for parents. I'm a parent of a teen girl. She's a freshman, and I know because we want to, as parents, we want to help navigate. We want to help them with all of these issues. And the world is fallen and it's broken, and they go to school and they're around other people that are broken, and they're grasping at straws oftentimes to find something to fix it or find something to fill that void or gain control. And because of the lack of maturity, they'll choose things that we wouldn't choose for them. But I think it's important for parents to be encouraged. If we are setting that example for them, and that's where you go back to anxiety, worry, stress. How are we as parents? How do our kids see us handle storms in life? How do they see us handle struggles? How do they see us when we're stressed out or anxious or if we're depressed? They need to see that example, and the consistency of these girls' parents showing them that example, and then like at the Loft, the mentors that are there, that consistency speaks volumes, and you're planting seeds. So even though they may be struggling right now, it's not the end of the story.
But you planted the seed of hope.
Yes,
there's another way out of this.
Absolutely, and that's where we share the gospel at the Loft and let them know that Christ came to save them, to rescue them. He died for those sins. You know, we don't have to live in that. We don't have to roll around in the mud, the muck, and the mire. You know, there is hope. And we have this Sunday, we have 2 speakers, 2 women that are going to come and share their story, their testimony on anxiety and fear and how it controlled them and how they live victoriously through that. So the girls are going to hear real life stories. That's what they hear every month, so that they know there's hope. They can look at someone older than them and say, okay, I can get through this.
All right, let me take a little sidebar here.
Yeah.
It's this Sunday night.
Yes.
At the Central Point Community Bible Church.
Yes.
At what time?
5:30, and we feed them dinner. So 5:30 to 8:30, we feed them dinner.
Pizza on the house, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. We feed them dinner.
Okay.
We do prizes and games, and then we get real with them.
Okay, and I want to say that if you know a teenage gal that's maybe suffering in any of these areas, from anxiety to worry to stress, struggling in that, you're more than welcome. Just show up. Maybe you want to get a hold of Treva later. We'll give out your number. And one other thing, I see here that you're going to have Parents Night.
We are. The following Sunday, March 16th, we're going to have parent night at the Loft from 6:30 to 8:30 at Community Bible Church in Central Point. You just show up. The parents just show up. And this is going to be a night of encouragement for our parents, because we realize that we're partnering with the parents. Even if we've never met them, we're partnering with them. We're building into their teen girls. And so this parent night, we're going to go over some of our topics, give them some wisdom and insight on what we've done this year, and let them know, these are some of the things that we've shared with your girls, but then also give them encouragement in raising teen girls, because it is not easy.
Let me look at this, see if I have this order right. These girls have fear, produces anxiety, and if it's not caught there, it can go into depression.
Exactly, yes.
And how bad is depression in a teenage girl?
Well, about 20% of our teen girls suffer with depression. And a lot of times that's by their circumstance, by their hormones, often like that. But what we don't want to do is not address it, so that by the time they're adults, they're full-blown in depression that they feel like they can't get out of. So we try to address it now. Girls, there are some that we've been talking about. There are some that are truly depressed. And then there's some, you'll hear girls just sort of use the word, oh, I'm so depressed today. Oh, I'm so depressed. And some of that is just because they've had a bad day,
right,
or because they're struggling in some of these other areas.
Right.
So we're trying to address it where we don't want to give the girls a way to say, your life is difficult, so it's okay for you to just say, oh, I'm just depressed today. We really want to give a definition to that on Sunday night, and we do have someone who's coming that has struggled with depression that's also going to talk to the girls, just so that the girls can kind of see where they're at on that spectrum. Are they anxious? Do they worry too much? Do we need to address that? Or has it moved into owning them?
Fabulous. I just so switched on to this ministry, and I just want to encourage you, if you know somebody, or maybe you have a teenager in your own house, or a friend of a friend, whatever, this is a ministry that is there for the taking, if I can put it that way.
Yes.
How did they get a hold of you, Treva, if they want more information?
They can call Community Bible Church in Central Point, and again, they just show up. They can bring their friends. 8th grade through 12th grade girls are welcome. 5:30 this Sunday. It's going to be great.
There it is. All right, thanks.
You're
and
welcome.
God bless you for what you're
Thank
doing.
you.
All right, we'll be right back.